Hello everyone, I'm Rebecca Mezoff. I wanted to jump on Facebook today and talk a little bit about my new book, which comes out tomorrow. Today's November 2nd, and the publication date for this book, The Art of Tapestry Weaving, is tomorrow. It's from Story Publishing, and it is the first full-length tapestry techniques book in almost 20 years. So it was a long time in making. I'm really happy that Story Publishing picked up the idea and that I was able to write the book, and it turned out better than I anticipated. And that is saying something. I'm really happy that, sorry, working with my technology, going a little freaky on me. So happy that Story picked up the book and saw some value in redoing some old classics. So not that my book is a redo of anything, it's just that the older books, Nancy Harvey and Carol Russell, are the two fuller length tapestry techniques books that are out there. And they're great books, but we need a more modern approach to learning tapestry, I think, now in the age of cell phones and short attention spans and our love for images. So this book is very image heavy. Today I just wanted to talk a little bit about looms, the way I approach looms in the book. And I'm sure I'll be talking more about other things in the book this week. But I thought we would start with looms because I get the most questions about that. In the book, Art of Tapestry Weaving, I decided to divide looms up into three different categories. There are so many different looms out there, and there are many really great looms. But I had to divide them up somehow to help guide you in choosing your first loom or your second loom or your 20th loom. So I divided them into three categories. There are non-tensioned frame looms, tensioned frame looms, and then looms with beams. That last category, looms with beams, encompasses a lot of different looms. But mostly when I'm talking about looms with beams, I'm talking about looms like this one. This is a Macomber. This is a great loom for tapestry. It's one of the only jack looms that is a really great one to use for tapestry weaving. This happens to be Connie Lippert's loom. Thank you, Connie. So the sort of standard floor loom you think of that has jacks, if you want a jack loom, get a Macomber. They're great for tapestry. Another kind of loom with beams is this. This is my standard loom, and it is right there over my shoulder. It is a Harrisville rug loom, and it is a countermarch loom. So again, big beams, big looms that hold the warp as you weave. There's one more loom behind me over my shoulder here, the one with the Christmas lights on it. That is a Leclerc Gobelin upright tapestry loom. So tapestry is also woven on large upright looms. If you've ever seen images of the Australian Tapestry Workshop or the Dovecot, they have much, much larger looms than this that they weave very large pieces on. So that is yet another kind, and there are two large beams, one at the top and one at the bottom, and the warp is stretched between them, and tension is created by those beams turning. So that's a category that a lot of you are, as beginners, are probably not going to jump into. So the other two categories of looms are non-tensioned frame looms and tensioned frame looms. So let me show you a couple examples of those just for fun. I'll start with non-tension frame looms, and I'm going to change my camera angle so you can get a little picture here of a couple different looms. I try to leave my face when I do these kinds of videos, just because if you're hard of hearing, it's easier to understand if you can see my mouth moving. So a couple different kinds of non-tension frame looms. This is one of my favorites. This is made by Handy Woman Shop, and it's a beautiful wood loom. It has zero tensioning, and so you want to use a little bit stretchy warp on it, and you can keep a a nice tension on a small loom. So for a non-tensioned loom, when they get too big, they get really clunky and hard to keep the tension. So, you could get a loom a little bigger than this that was non-tensioned, but once you get to 14 to 18 inches long, you really need a loom that has tensioning on it. But for small things, this loom is fantastic. I used to weave a lot on Looms by Jim Hokett, and he retired in 2019. And this is my favorite substitute for my Hokett looms. It's by Handy Woman Shop. And it's a woman who makes all the looms herself, and I also love that. Here's a little bit less expensive version of that. It's a peg loom made by Schacht. It's called the Easel Weaver loom. And it just has simple pegs on the top and the bottom, and the warp goes up and down between those two. So those are two non-tensioned floor looms. Let's look at tensioned floor looms. And the first thing I'm going to say, I wish I had one of these that was warped, but this is a pipe loom. I made this loom. It probably cost, I bet the materials in this loom are something like $12 to $15. And then I used a few other tools. I needed a copper pipe cutter, which might run you $8 and can be used over and over. And this loom is glued. So I just used super glue, basically Gorilla Glue on the corners. I have soldered other ones, and I actually have instructions on how to make these on my blog and also in several of my online classes. So this loom works like this. There's 2 U's of copper and threaded rods, and you change the tension on these threaded rods with a warp on the loom, and that creates tension. Tension in tapestry weaving is important. It makes weaving so much easier and more fun for larger pieces. A couple other examples of tensioned frame looms. And by frame, I often mean something like this copper pipe loom that is a rectangle, but I've also just lumped together other looms that are eye-shaped. For example, the ones I just showed you. These I also call frame looms, but they're eye-shaped. Basically, it's a rectangle of some sort upon which the warp is stretched. This is a new loom from Mirex. This one actually has an extended rod on it. It's the one that I had that was warped today. It's called the Saffron Loom, and this loom actually is also just 2 bars with a threaded rod in the middle. So this is like, I shouldn't keep dropping this. It's very much like these peg looms. It also has pegs, but it has tensioning. So this is a nice loom for small things, and with this extended rod on it, it gives you a really nice warp. That is made by Mirex, which is Mirrix. And then the last loom I'm going to show you is a super popular loom, and I'm going to turn the camera this way so you can see. This is a Mirex, a regular Mirex loom. This is the big sister, and this loom gives you the idea of what a frame loom is. So there is a rectangle made of pipe here, down the side, around the bottom, and tension is created by these screws on the side. So you put the warp on, and you tension the screws, and the 2 sides of the loom move apart, and you get a tighter warp. So there are other advantages to this loom. The fancier you get in looms, the more options you have in terms of this one has a shedding device. I'm working on a little tapestry diary piece here that I've just started. And another advantage of this loom, you can see I have a piece on the back. It has a longer warp, so I could just roll the warp around and start a new piece without rewarping. This is my cartoon. So all of these concepts are things that I talk about in the book, the how to do all the basic stuff with tapestry weaving. So I'm pretty excited about this book finally coming out. It's been 3 years in the making, and gosh, it's really nice to finally have it finished. So this is the week it's dropping. Many of you have gotten your copy of it already, so I'm super excited to hear what you think about it. I'll be talking about it more this week and on all my different channels. And I have a website, which is right below tapestryweaving.com if you want to know more about tapestry weaving of any kind. I have a blog that I've been writing on for about 12 and a half years now. And there are categories on the side. So there's, if you want to learn more about looms, you can go there, or lots of other subjects. So, yeah, I will be hopping on here more this week just to share other little parts of the book. I will be doing a couple launch events, so you can find more about that on my website if you're interested to come to a webinar where I talk more about the making of the book, so like images of the photo shoot and what it's like to actually write a book, and a little bit more about what's in the book. On my website, under books at the top, you'll see there's some more information. So check all that out, and thanks for stopping by today, you all. I'll see you again tomorrow when I talk again about the art of tapestry weaving. Tapestry is a super wonderful part of my life. I love this pursuit so much, and I love teaching it. So I've been running an online school teaching tapestry weaving for 6.5 years now, and I've had several thousand students come through the school, and in all different levels of classes. And so a lot of the knowledge that I gained from teaching that way is how this book came to be, that I have a lot of experience figuring out what is the most confusing for people and then problem solving with them. So it's my great joy to continue that journey in tapestry weaving, and I hope you will join me in whatever way you want to, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.